Putin's invasion of Ukraine in a short time changed the entire balance of power in Europe. While the Russian army is weakening on the Ukrainian front and spending its best resources, Europe is strengthening its military capabilities. Poland is preparing its army for a direct military clash with Russia. Finland and Sweden become members of NATO and increase their defense budgets. Germany has allocated 100 billion euros to rearm its army. For a peaceful and passive Germany, this seems like a tectonic shift. France has announced that it is entering a period of military economy and has begun a large-scale rearmament program. Almost all major European countries have increased their defense budgets and are planning to increase their armed forces. But Poland is most ready to arm itself, preparing for a possible conflict with Russia. Poland has promised to build the most powerful ground forces in Europe, capable of defeating Russia if necessary. In fact, a new arms race has started in Europe, provoked by Russia and Vladimir Putin personally. One can envy the determination of the Poles. Already on July 27th, they signed a major military contract with South Korea. As a result of the deal, the Poles will receive more than 600 self-propelled K-9 howitzers, 48 FA-50 fighter planes, more than 800 K-2 tanks. Part of these armaments will arrive already this year. The rest will be transferred to Poland in the next 2 years. The Poles have also agreed that they will build factories to produce South Korean tanks and howitzers. South Korea produces very modern and high-quality weapons, and they are slightly cheaper than American weapons. But Poland does not refuse to buy American weapons either. Last month, the Poles bought 116 decommissioned Abrams tanks from the US, which it will receive in early 2023. They also plan to buy 250 new Abrams tanks of the latest modification. Also, Poles have an existing contract with the US for the delivery of 32 of the most modern aircrafts, F-35. And plus, all this should not be forgotten that the Polish Air Force already has almost 50 American F-16s in service. And also, Poles are going to buy 500 HIMARS. Look at the impact that just 8 HIMARS in Ukraine had on the course of the war. They actually stopped the Russian offensive. And now imagine what 500 HIMARS can do. There will also be anti-air defenses in Poland. They are going to buy 8 batteries of Patriot anti-aircraft missile systems from the Americans. Poland is also expanding the number of its army. Back in March this year, Poland promised to increase its army from 150,000 to 400,000 soldiers. In general, Poles are planning to build the strongest land army in Europe to contain the threat of a Russian invasion. The logic of the Poles is very simple. It was voiced by Polish Defense Minister Mariusz Błaszczak. He said, "We must have such a strong army that Russia won't even dare to attack us." And it seems that this motto will become a rule for the entirety of Europe, to be so strong that Russia will not even think of attacking them. By the way, if you think carefully, you will see that this is what provoked the Russian invasion of Ukraine in the first place. Russia only attacked Ukraine because it thought Ukraine was too weak. The Russians were confident of their victory. Interestingly, even Kazakhstan began to increase its military forces for fear of a Russian invasion. But back to Poland and Europe. Obviously, no matter how the military conflict in Ukraine ends, Russia will not stop. Sooner or later, the Russian army will resume its forces again and will be ready for revenge. Realizing this, Poland and Europe as a whole began to expand and increase their military capabilities. This is a new policy of containment. Poland wants to prevent a Russian invasion with its impressive military might. In the end, I'm only saddened by the fact that billions of dollars in the coming years will be spent on producing weapons instead of directing that money to more useful and constructive things. And all of this is because of Russia, or rather because of one inadequate man, Vladimir Putin. This is why I always say that the greatest threat to the modern world order is dictatorship, and we must find a way to rid the world of all dictators.